How's it going, guys? In today's video, we're going to be highlighting two games from the tournament MVP of the EU regional that just happened this past weekend. Of course, as you would expect, this video will contain spoilers of that event, so be warned if you have not yet watched it and you intend to later on. With that being said, let's get into the first of two games. We're going to be on Vatira POV, that's Team Queso's Vatira against BDS, and yes, I think Vatira was the MVP of this most recent EU event, which is probably pretty crazy to hear for a lot of people who haven't followed the European teams outside of the top 5 closely this year. If you were to guess the MVP of this event before it started, I'm sure a lot of people would say Monkey Moon, maybe it was Joria's, maybe Archie, maybe Alpha 54 from Vitality's back on top if Vitality are grinding. Could it be Seiko from Endpoint? You know, they'd all be great guesses, but none of them are correct because the MVP ended up being Vatira. The winning team ended up being Team Queso, a team that I've talked about as a real threat and you know, a real high potential team. But I never expected them to dominate. I never expected them to come out and play as well as they did this past weekend. Really, really impressive stuff by them. And let's just enjoy Vatira's gameplay here against the very best team in the world, the team who have just won the Fall Major. And we're on an absolute tear this event, undefeated into the winners final where this match took place, and the majority of people, I think expectedly, had BDS winning this. The majority of people making predictions thought BDS would come out on top, but there are many things that make Queso such a dangerous team, and let's just talk about those aspects. And Vatira really does fit into pretty much every single one of these categories that we're about to talk about. First of all, they're a triple threat team. Every single one of their players is a dangerous player. Mechanically, they can make solo plays, they can make outplays happen that lead to chances for their teammates to score. And that is something that is just going to be a necessity in the long run for competitive Rocket League. You're going to need to have 3 players in your team who can make those big plays when they're called upon. All the best teams in the world right now can do that. BDS, they can do that. NRG can do it. We saw that from FaZe at the Fall Major with Illusion really stepping up. But just look at this play from Vatira. Sees Mark coming in for the early challenge, double taps it off the ceiling, dunks on Monkey Moon, and puts his team 1 goal ahead. That's a straight up 1v3 play against Team BDS. Mark challenged early. Vatira managed to come up with a way to get past him and still have control of the ball. Now, that's ridiculously impressive. When you can get you know, a 1v3 play against a team who are all sitting back in net, not challenging, that's one thing. But to do it against a Team BDS who had 1 challenge there coming in as early as possible, and then another one challenging on the goal line, it just shows just one of the aspects that these guys bring to the table. That's the change of plan. Look at that as well. That's another one. Rise, as the 3rd man in that play, makes a run all the way up the field because he realizes that Vatira's got a completely uncontested shot, and if he just demos the goalkeeper, it's going to be a goal. That awareness from Rise is crazy. It's so impressive that they're able to synergize these bumps and demos and create open nets and you know, time the arrival and time the landing of those physical plays just as the shot's about to happen. They did this consistently throughout the event. But, you know, to talk more about the aerial prowess that this team has, we saw from Vatira in the goal that he scored there that he wasn't completely committed to a double tap off the ceiling from the beginning of that play. He didn't need to do that. He did it because he saw the challenge coming towards him. Had he not seen a challenge coming towards him, he could have continued the air dribble. He could have landed a flip reset. He could have done a whole number of things. But he saw 1 challenge coming at him, double tap the ball off the ceiling to get past it. Then he sees Monkey Moon challenging in the goal line, so instead of just forcing the ball into one of the top corners, or aiming, I should say, the ball into one of the top corners, he just slows his flight path down a bit to get a blocking touch instead of a 50-50 that's just going to bounce sideways. And that you know, perfect car control, that manipulation of the play in reaction to what he's seeing in front of him, it's, you know, really similar to what players like Seiko do for Endpoint, and you know, Joria's for Dignitas, just having perfect car control, perfect ball control, enabling you to completely change plan mid-play and provide multiple threats for your team. And yeah, we see this from Joyo as well at times. These two are the main solo player, main aerial players in this team. Rise is the 3rd man. But that's not to say that Rise doesn't get a shot at doing that every now and then as well. You know, credit to Rise, most of the credit to Rise goes to his defense, his pre-jump saves, his you know, buying time for his teammates to get back by keeping control of the ball, denying shots, managing his boost. You know, this is a really, really smart player, and a player that backs up Vatira and Joyo so that they can just go and tear apart the enemy team. Now, Joyo on this last day was right there with Vatira. I think they were both incredibly impressive when it came to offense, but even if one of them doesn't show up, the other's got enough of an offensive arsenal to just be a problem by themselves. BDS completely outclassed when it came to creativity, dropping in the winners final to Queso and then losing in the lower final to Dignitas in a perfect sweep. So before we get into the second game here, let me just summarize what happens between this game and the next one that we see. BDS go to that lower final and they lose 4 consecutive games to Dignitas with a 5-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 scorecard. Unbelievably one-sided. Dignitas destroy BDS. They beat them more comfortably than Queso did. So going into the final, even though Dignitas need to win 2 series to win in this format because they're coming from the lower bracket, everybody's still thinking Dignitas are on fire. I don't know if Queso can hang with them, but that's not what happened. Queso actually ended up being the better team in the final. They did the exact same things that they did against BDS, timing demos effectively, dodging demos in defense, managing their boost well in defense, getting pre-jump saves, just surviving massive pressure from Dig for extended periods of time, just like they did against BDS. And when it came to scoring, they were just so consistently dangerous and so problematic for their opponents to deal with. But anyway, that's enough of an intro. Let's get into the second game and see how did Vatira, how did Queso manage to dispose of Dig. So here we are back on Utopia Coliseum. The Utopia Coliseum means game 4 for the current format. So at this moment, series score was 2-1 in favor of Team Queso. Dignitas just taking that third game with their best game by far that they played in this series. The first 2 games were all Team Queso. Queso just completely rolled Dig 2 times in a row. Dig looked like they really stepped it up in that third game. Started to challenge as early as they could on the aerial plays that Queso were throwing at them. That gave them enough time in defense to survive. But doing that is very, very hard. It's hard to do that consistently, as you'll see in this game. Dignitas were trying to be as quick as possible with their challenges on any play that Queso make, and that got them in trouble a couple of times, which we'll see in a moment. Good save there by Vatira to start things off. Now there's a heavy touch by Scrub. Joyo puts it into the net, so whether or not Scrub saw exactly where Joyo was, he definitely overhit at that first touch, lost control of the ball, and put it in a very dangerous position for his team to deal with. And, immediate punish there from Joyo on the mistake to put Queso in front. Queso just keeping the ball in the corner was a big part of their game when it came to defense. Vatira there, like we talked about in the previous game, not completely committed to one play when he's aerialing. Good dodge comes in on the demo so he can make a follow-up save. Whether it's, you know, leaning back into a block, whether it's deciding to go for the shot as we see here, you know, Vatira could really do it all. This time, snipes its up corner again with a run-ahead demo landing at perfect timing. They've done it against BDS, they've done it against Dignitas. Just such good communication from this young team, showing that they're not just a pile of mechanics. They've got the strats as well, they've got the comms, and given what we heard from Rise in the interview, it sounds like they had the team atmosphere on point as well. So Vatira actually missing there. That was a mistake. He tried to get a glancing blow on the ball there to skim it into the crossbar, which would have sent it flying away from the from danger, away from Jack. Jack actually misses the double tap, so another mistake from Dig in this fourth game. I think this fourth game was probably the messiest from Dignitas, but also such an impressive one from Team Queso. And apparently Jack himself tweeted that he thinks that they didn't play their best in this grand final, but it was down to Team Queso making them look bad. And here's Vatira making the defense look bad again as a double commit comes through. Dignitas do not communicate whose ball that is. They know they have to go fast. They can't let Vatira close to their net or they're just going to be in huge trouble. But then Vatira sees the challenges coming in, doesn't care about putting the ball on target, just pops it into the crossbar. It's that continued adaptation mid-play that just makes them so dangerous. If he sees a challenge coming, he's outplaying the challenge. If he doesn't see a challenge coming, he's keeping control of the ball and just shooting, or getting a reset so he can shoot at a later time. Another one. Vatira passed the play once again. Scrub does read his high pop after the reset though. It's a good defense by him. But the threats are just so consistent from Team Queso. Vatira, every single time he gets the ball, every time that he can even create a tiny bit of space for himself, you can just see the immediate panic coming out of Dignitas. They're thinking, we have to challenge him. If we give him any space at all, it's just going to be a goal. It's going to be a position we can't recover from. Vatira, they're staying on the ball. He knows that Joyo's going to sit back because it's far too risky to move in from distance there. What Queso are trying to do is just focus on the recoveries when it comes to offense. They're not too bothered about creating scoring chances when they've already got the 3-goal lead. They're just trying to get back into position to start intercepting Dignitas at the other end. What a read that is by Joyo. And now Vatira, in and out save into a pass, and that is going to be 4-0. As another assist coming through from Vatira. But really, that was credit to Joyo, how he managed to read that bounce and get a defensive touch into the corner. Brilliantly done. And these defensive touches are things we saw from Rise often in this tournament. Just keeping the ball in the back corner, buying time for his teammates to recover. And when they do, when you've got a third man like that who can buy you so much time, you're just more confident using all your boosts and using everything you can in offense, because you know he's got your back. You don't need to come back and help him in a hurry. But with 4-goal lead, they really don't have to do anything else in offense here. Joyo with a double save. That first one is a pre-jump as well. Now the pinch is being attempted. They send it wide. Jack might have had it covered anyway. What synergy from these guys. The decision making's on point. The boost management just so solid despite the high pressure situation. And they've got the communication down as well. It's clear to see they're just playing off each other brilliantly. The Rise is pre-jumping because they're up by 4. They're just having some fun with it now in game number 4, putting themselves on triple match point, which they were able to get on the first try. Triple tournament point, I should say, after this one. But yeah, what a run. What an insane performance by a team that everybody knew had potential to be one of the best in Europe. Everybody knew that they were a threat to anyone on their day, but to see them dominate Dignitas and dominate BDS in this manner is completely unexpected. That's just insane to see. And I think that this is actually something, well, maybe not dominating BDS and Dignitas, but I think that this sort of performance, a tournament-winning performance, is something that they can recreate. I said the same thing about Endpoint after they won Regional 1 in the fall split. A lot of people are asking, is that a flash in the pan? And I didn't think it was. When I look at that team, I think I see a team who can do that consistently. When I look at Queso, I see the same thing. I see a team who can do this consistently now that they've got the confidence from doing it once. However, Europe is incredibly stacked. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, especially in this format, if Queso get second or third in their group next time around, and then they're in the lower bracket, and who knows, maybe they don't make a top 6, maybe they get eliminated 9th to 12th even. But the good news for them is that they've got so many points from winning this event that as long as they just make it into, I think, if they get something like 8th one time and then 9th to 12th another time, I think that might just be enough points to make the Winter Major. It's only the Winter Regionals that count towards Winter Major qualification. So these guys are front runners right now. Dignitas likewise with second place. BDS and Endpoints third and fourth. So they're, I think, going to be consistently putting points on the board. And that 5th spot, who knows? Williams Resolve and Vitality currently are tied for it. But there's teams like Carmine Corp, teams like Misfits, teams like Semper, who are right now lower down in the standings. But I think teams that have potential to get great runs in future events. The only 2 events that are left for the European Regionals this split, might I add. Luminosity as well, don't count them out. Even Evil Geniuses. EU is just unbelievably stacked. So, you know, what do I think Queso are going to do in the future? I think they're going to win another event this year, whether it be regionally or a major, maybe. I think they've got another event win in them. I think Dignitas do as well. But I don't think, you know, the key one, the one that I'm really looking forward to seeing is the next one. If they could just make it out of the group in the next one, that's huge. They cannot afford to be eliminated last place. That's the one thing they've got to avoid. In this format, last place is terrible. You're just out. You're just out immediately, and everybody else, the other 3 teams in your group have all got a shot at making a deep run. So keep an eye out for that. Congrats to them for winning. I hope that they stay hungry. It's great to see their grind being rewarded, but I hope that they stay hungry. I hope that they stay grinding, and I hope that they don't get complacent, and that they can keep that that mentality that they currently have, because they're not underdogs anymore, but they can still, I think, play calmly as long as they can avoid being overwhelmed by the expectation. But either way, super entertaining team to watch. That man in the middle there, tournament MVP for me, but Rise and Joyo were unbelievable as well. Joyo, the man at the back, and or rather Rise, the consistent man at the back, and Joyo, you know, if Vatira's having a sleepy day in offense, I'm sure Joyo can step up and do the exact same things. This team's just crazy potential. But that's all we got time for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that breakdown and closer look at Vatira from Team Queso. This is a team you should absolutely have your eye on for the rest of the split and the rest of the year. And if you haven't had a chance to watch the rest of these series, I encourage you to do so, because these are just 2 games out of I think a total of 9 that they played in the last day. Really entertaining stuff. Definitely check it out. But like I said, that's all we got time for now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.